Hi, in this lesson we're going to go through how to add a product to your OpenCart store. You'll need to log into your OpenCart administration panel, go to the catalog menu, down to products, and on the right hand side you'll see an insert button here. This is the screen where we can add an OpenCart or product to our OpenCart store. Let's go through it. Again, fields noted with a red asterisk are required fields and need to be completed before anything can be saved. Alright, so the product name is obviously what people will see when they come to your store. This will be what the product is called. So let's just call this one My Test Product. We've covered the meta tag description and the meta tag keywords in our tutorial on categories. Just to recap, the meta tag description and the meta tag keywords are not visible to your customers when they come to your store, but they are visible to search engines like Google, who will index your store and rank pages and display results for those pages. In fact, your meta tag description may be what Google displays in the search engine results. So it's important that you complete the meta tag description with a short sentence, possibly two, and that you use the meta tag keywords, just a comma separated list of keywords. So we say a short sentence describing my product, and here we'd have a comma separated list of keywords, and I've separated that with commas so you could get the gist of that. Now the description down the bottom here, this is actually what your customers will see beneath the product when they click through to the product page. So this is very important, and in a later tutorial we're going to go through how to write the best product description. But for this, the purposes of this lesson, we're just going to say you need a paragraph or two that includes a call to action. That's marketing jingo for trying to get people to buy your product, and the required information that your customers will need. And as I said, we'll cover how to write the best product description in a more advanced lesson later. Product tags. OpenCart allows you to tag your products for use internally and externally, as in you can have a tag box and you can display those tags and people can search that way, and also internally OpenCart uses tags. So you could go My Product Tags here, separated by commas. Okay, so we've completed the first tab, General. We're going to move through to the Data tab, the model. This is also a required field. We're going to say My Test Product, MTP, we're going to call it 1000. That's a good starting number. MTP 1000. We want to keep model and its related field here, stock keeping unit. Probably want to keep them the same and start them off at numbers, or if you're supplied a model number or a stock keeping unit by your manufacturer or your supplier, use that. Make sure it's unique. So we're going to keep those the same. Universal product code, more commonly referred to as a barcode. If you need to keep that information, you can put in your barcode there. European article number, only for those obviously in Europe. Japanese article number, again, we won't cover those here. They're pretty self-explanatory if you're in those areas. ISBN number, if you're selling literature, books, they generally come with an ISBN number. Put that in there. Manufacturer part number will help you if you need to reorder stock. Again, it may actually be the same as your model number, but if it's different, put it in there. Location is very important. We're going to work on the basis that most people are actually selling to a local region, maybe up to a country-wide region. Not very few sellers will be in the business of selling internationally unless you're a large store. So you want to keep your location fairly specific to the town you're in, rather than the country. So let's just say for instance we're in Boston. The price of your product. This is the visible price. It may be subject to change if we put in a discount or other options, but the price will be primarily the price that's displayed next to the product. So let's do this test product. We'll call it $99. We don't need to put in any dollar signs or anything like that. Tax class, we're going to cover tax classes in another tutorial because there's some intricacies there, but it by default OpenCart will come with some tax classes set up. So let's go taxable goods. We can alter the tax. These are two groups of taxes that have been set up here. We're going to select taxable goods, and we can alter the rate that those goods are taxed at in another screen without needing to come back here and edit this. Okay, so the quantity. If you're selling physical goods, you're going to have to be mindful of quantities. If you're selling virtual goods, this is not required, but let's just say we're starting out with a quantity of 20. Minimum quantity, I suppose there's a few areas where you might force a customer that they need to buy half a dozen, 20, or whatever. If you want to force that amount, you can put it in there. If not, just leave it at 1. That allows people to purchase individual products. Subtract stock. By default, you probably want to do this, especially if you've got a quantity of product on hand, but there are other options. You can not subtract stock, and you'll have to be very careful to keep an eye on your product levels so people aren't going through your online store and purchasing things that you no longer have in stock. I suggest if you do have physical stock that you keep it at yes. Out of stock status, what message do you want to display to people? What options do you want people to have when you do run out of stock? You can see there's a few pretty common things, like we'll have stock in 2 to 3 days. You can just outright lie and say we're still in stock if you believe you can complete the transaction quick enough. I'd say if you're out of stock, just leave it to the default of out of stock. Requires shipping. If your product is a physical good, you're going to want to keep this on yes. If it's a virtual good, you can click on no. We're going to keep this on yes. The SEO keyword, one of the most important fields on the whole product creation page. This is what you will see, and we're just going to load up the front of our OpenCart store, and we're going to click on a product. And we might just have to skip out a full screen here just to have a look at that. So this section here, after your store URL, when you complete the field SEO keyword, what's going to happen is it's going to change this, and for this product here, which is a MacBook, it might go MacBook. Now you might not think this is a big deal, but search engines love this. Search engines rate it highly and will increase your ranking if you have SEO friendly URLs. So it's very important that you first of all get SEO friendly URLs going, and we'll cover that in a tutorial. It's quite simple how to do it, but that all through your store you're using these things here, the SEO opportunity. So we're just going to call this one my test product. Right, the image that we want to use, we click on browse and we go to the image manager. There's some demo images loaded up. Again, we're just going to use something already here. Let's have a look at that. That looks good. We'll use that. That's the image that people will see when they click through to our product page. It's also the image people will see for the product when it's listed in a category or it's listed in a module anywhere on the site. That's the primary image that people will see. Now we move along to the next field here. If your product is not yet available and you're just getting some work done in advance of a product coming online, you can choose here to actually make the product available in the future. So there's no point in moving back into the past at any means. So you're either going to be available today or available at some time in the future. We're just going to leave that available as it is today. Now for shipping, if we are requiring shipping, we probably want to complete the dimensions of the product. It can be used in some bin packing algorithms to work out the best pack or parcel or box that needs to be used to contain the item. So it's very important that we complete these dimensions. So we're just going to say that this is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. It's a cube, and we're going to use a metric system, centimeters. I'm not going to use inches. Again, the weight's very important when shipping, probably more so than the dimensions. A lot of your shipping modules or your modules that calculate shipping costs will be more centered upon the weight of the item. So we're just going to say that this item is 2 kilograms. Metric again. The status of the product, we covered this in categories. You can disable this product. You can go through, you can complete all the fields you need to, and when you're absolutely sure you've done it all right, you can go and click enabled. It's a way of not having to delete and recreate products just to change something here or there. So we can use that status just to turn a product off and on if we want to alter it, or something's happened, we might not have that product available for a month, but we don't want to delete it and then go through the rigmarole of recreating it. We just use the status to turn it off and on. So we're going to leave that on. Sort order, not particularly important at this stage. We're going to go through to the links. Right, so manufacturer, we haven't covered setting up manufacturers, but by default OpenCart comes with some. So let's just see, there it goes, Apple. If you want to display products by manufacturer, or link your products to manufacturers, or allow people to search products by manufacturer, this is a good idea to complete this field. We're just going to leave it at one of the default ones, Apple. Categories, very, very important. Most people will shop at your store by categories. It's important that your products are in the right category, that they are in a category, because it's highly unlikely they'll be found if they're not in a category. People shop by categories. So let's just put this under the desktop PCs. Of course, we can drop this under as many categories as we want. I think there's a category PDAs. Oh, let's try the laptop. So you can see there, we can put it under as many categories as we like this product. Make sure it's under the right category, at least one category. Filters, we're not going to cover filters. It's a slightly more advanced topic that we're going to cover in a later lesson. Stores, we've quickly discussed stores and the categories. Again, we're going to go through setting up multiple stores in another lesson. If you're not setting up a multiple store, you are safe to use the default value wherever you see this. Downloads, this is a physical good we're going to be selling here, not a digital good. If you're using digital goods, or you're in the business of selling digital goods, you will need to add a download, and you can again use the auto select. So if your download was called my test product, you just have to type in my test product and it would pop up with a link to the digital download. Alternatively, you could use this also for manual or documentation to accompany a product. If you add the manual to the download section, you could then reference the manual in this section. We'll leave this blank because ours is a physical good without any attached documentation. Related products, let's just drop out of here for a second. We'll show you where the related products here. This one doesn't have any. We'll go back to the home page. Here we can see underneath this product there's 3 tabs, and the last one is the related products. So this is what is showing for related products. And when we add items here, they will display so by adding those 2 products there, they'll show in that related products tab that I just showed you on that existing product. Okay, if we move across to the attributes section, again, this is a slightly more advanced topic. It's to do with the product comparison feature of OpenCart. We're going to cover this in an in-depth tutorial because it's a separate section that you really need to get a grasp on as a whole and understand what it's doing. If you've ever been to some of the IT shops, especially on the internet, you'll see that you can compare products side by side, and you can see comparisons of the actual attributes of the product. So they might say the CPU speed or the RAM amount, all side by side, and that's where this the attribute section comes in. It allows you to tag attributes of your products, but they need to be based on attributes that you're using across your whole store so people can actually do some comparisons. So I won't go one out here and just add attributes to this one product. We'll cover it in a extensive lesson later on how to set up product attributes properly for your whole store. Options, product options. We'll touch on this quickly. Okay, so product options are set up in another section, and they're available to each product here. That sounds a bit confusing, but what I'm getting at here is you might have let's see, we want to have a select box, which we've set up previously. We want to add a value to it. These values are, as I said, predefined in another section. We're going to say, again, this comes into your quantity of your products. So you might have 20 products. You might have one blue, green, red, whatever. We're going to subtract one quantity from that product whenever anyone chooses this option. Price, we're going to say there's no actual difference in price when you select the color blue, say. Points comes back to the rewards points system. We're going to leave that out. We're going to talk about that in a more detailed tutorial. And weight, obviously some product options will add to the weight of your product and the shipping costs, so you might want to put that in there. We're not going to do that. Is this option actually required? We're going to say no. By default, you can have the beige version of the product, and if you want, you can then come down and drop down and say pick another color. So I mean, that's a very brief. There's other default options that are available. Checkbox, much like our select, same values. Now the thing to note is that these are all default, and you really need to set up your product options. So if you're selling t-shirts, you might have just a select option set up for the color of the shirts that you have available, or the sizes. Probably sizes is more appropriate. It's very much dependent on what kind of products you're selling in your store. And again, we'll cover product options and setting up those options for use here in the product creation page in a later tutorial. Okay, so we go to the discount tab, and the difference between discount and special is to do with, you might have a discount based on the quantity of product purchase. So we go in here and we say the default customer group. If you purchase 10 of these products, the priority is just the way the discount kicks in. You might have a number of discounts, and this will be the first one that gets run. You buy 10 of those products, we'll give you those products. I think we set the product at $99. You know, you buy 10, you can have it for $75, and the date is the start of the discount, and the end of the discount. We're just going to run that discount for 15 days. So that's the discount is based on quantity and giving people a discount for the more they buy, obviously. So we'll run along to the next tab called special, and the special is you might alter the price without any basis of the quantity sold. So you're just running a special, and you might have this, we'll set up for the default customer group. We'll give it the top priority. We're going to say we're going to set the price at $80 for 1 day only. So there you go. So we've got a discount set up. If people buy 10, we're going to give them a cheaper price, and that's going to run for 15 days. And just if for the next day or so, we're just going to run a one-off special, and we're going to do the product for $80, and they can purchase 1, 20, whatever they like. So you see there's a slight difference there. Easy to get confused. Discount, you're basing that on the quantity, and special is just your run-of-the-mill. We're going to discount this product price for whatever quantity for whatever period of time. We'll move along to the next tab here, the image tab. As I said before, we've got, let's just have a look at it here. We've got the primary image that we set back here on the data tab. That will be the image that gets displayed in this big box here. But these accessory images, or these alternate images, which people can click on and have a look at the product in different views or however, these are all set up on the image tab here. So we're just going to go add image, again click browse. I'm going to go through to some of these demo images, and we'll just add a few. You can choose as many as you like. I've found that you get to a point where probably 3, 4, maybe 5 is a good amount of images to attach to a product. Now, if we're really pedantic, we might want these images to display in a certain order. We'll say we want this Apple logo to display first, this monitor second, this camera third. That's why we're using the sort order field there. If you're not worried about that, just leave it blank. Move along to the next tab here, reward points. We're going to cover reward points setting up in a later tutorial, but just quickly, you can set this up so that people can actually purchase this item using accumulated points at your store. So you might run a system where for each $100 spent, people get 10 points, and you might say that, well, if you've accumulated 50 points, you've spent $500 at my store, and you've accumulated 50 points, you can purchase this product for 50 points. Now, it's not easily separated here, but the top is the number of points needed to purchase to buy this item. And the second part of the screen, the bit down the bottom here, is how many points people receive for buying the item. So the top one is you'll need 50 points. If you got 50 points, you can have this item for free. And the bottom part is if you don't have 50 points and you're just buying this item, this is the number of points that we'll give you for buying this item. So we're going to say you get 5 points when you buy this item. Now the last tab here is the design tab, and we've covered this again briefly in the categories tutorial. We're going to go through designs, creating our custom layouts and whatnot. By default, you shouldn't need to do anything here. Those are the predefined layouts. As I said, we're going to cover layouts in an in-depth tutorial later on. So just leave it blank. And that's basically all we need to do to add a product to our OpenCart store. Now, just so we know where to find this product when we click save here, we're going to go back to the links tab, and we can see that we've put it under the category desktop, and we've put it under the category laptops and notebooks. So we're going to click save. We can go to the front of our store, and we're just going to look under desktops first. And if we scroll down here, we're going to try and find it, remembering the image that we used. There it is, my test product. Now if we go to laptops and notebooks, we're just going to check that it's on. There it is again, my test product. We can see all the information that we put in about our product. The alternate images are here. The options available. We haven't configured that properly. Again, we'll go through an options tutorial later on, show you how to do that, set it all up properly. The description. We have no reviews, but we can see here the related products we chose and the product tags we put in. Brand, product code, reward points, availability, all those things are there. So that's how you add an OpenCart product to your store. It's quite simple. We're going to go through some of the other points to do with layouts. options and whatnot in a later tutorial. Thank you.